Islam, Dwayne Beye. It is January the 30th, right, Malik? 31st? Oh, yeah. It's January the 31st, 2019. Islam. It is Thursday. And today we are burning candles, but we're not burning the ones that we usually burn. You would think I have it memorized, so I'm going to just, what I always do to try to make sure I stay focused, blue candle. I always remember Jupiter, but for some reason, Dwayne, I want to burn purple on Thursday and burn blue on Wednesday. I don't know why. So anyway, so Islam, how you doing, Dwayne? So the first thing I want to start off by saying is today, if you come over here, Imani, we're having veggie meat. Oops, hold on. Oops. Imani, where look? Ah. Veggie meat and spinach. Okay. The veggie meat is mixed up. I just put this in there. It has not even been a minute. It's probably been about 40 seconds. So I'm gonna let it cook for 6 minutes approximately. Next, Beye. My son said he read the ingredients of this hamburger helper, and there's no meat product in it. It's just seasoning. So we're gonna use the seasoning because once again, you see me? What inspired me once again is Selena Cordova-Hill. I know her and Asir Cordova-Hill. I know her cook more with less is more. I don't know. I know it to me it's like hers is a little bit better, but so and actually this is what I'm learning how to do. It's encouraging. So I just have to look at her videos more. That's all. But anyway, so these are noodles. So I'm gonna put these noodles in. So I want a little starch. Okay. Also, what I did, what you saw, it was honey. I've already, whoops, you see this honey? This is pure dark honey. And I used this honey in the water. Before I put this veggie meat and spinach mix, I put the honey in with pepper and salt. I use Mediterranean salt. I have to get some more Himalayan salt. And I let it come to a boil. Because that's this is a natural sugar, a natural sweetener. So, and believe it or not, when I use honey that tastes for sweetness or artificial sugar, it sees. So I'm gonna just leave that there. So now what I'm doing is mixing this up like this. It doesn't take long for these noodles to cook at all. And I've already have vegetables in there. So I'm going to add a little more noodles because I want a little more starch. This is Reggaeton, Imani says, enriched macaroni product. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit as well. Okay. And I'm going to add the seasoning from the box of the Salisbury hamburger helper. And I think I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. I know it sounds like odd, but with taco seasoning. But I've done this before and it tastes great. It really does, Dwayne. It tastes great and it lasts for more than one day. Okay, what I wanted to tell you, Dwayne, about Beye, is I had a thought today. I had a thought about... because you know, I was telling you, you know this, there are energies we're among that are able to send sharp pains to joints, your cranium, your parietal, your temporal, forcefully. These spirits, they have that ability, and all of them, 99.9% have the code, that telepathic code that causes them to be telepathic. And that Imani and I, Imani Gray-Bey and I, Rhonda Arrington-Bey, reject. I was thinking today, I found this odd because while I was working at Burger King, I kept feeling a dull, sharp pain in right here in my back. It was just constant, like, and I don't usually get a pain down. I don't know why. It was like right there in a certain spot, dull, sharp pain. And a thought came about when I worked in the hospital field. I worked for Wellstar. And what caused friction at Wellstar, I told you, Dwayne Battlefield Bey, my consciousness started to change around 2010, 2011. Even before then it was changing, but I had a boost in consciousness around 2010. And this is Wellstar in Cobb County, Marietta, Georgia. And I was working there as a tech. As I worked as a tech, there were certain things that we were trained to do. But as when I was being trained, we were trained before we were able to get on the floor. And as I was being trained, the nurse that trained us told us a story about a patient that died at Wellstar because a nurse aide or tech undid the IV and forgot to hook it back up. So she undid the IV, the tech, and didn't go back to hook it back up. And so that patient transitioned. And it was a lawsuit or something like that. And I think she said that the nurse eventually came back. They sent the tech somewhere, whatever. It was hard for her to find a job, or if she found a job or something like that. I don't know how, but I know that it was a repercussion, right? Okay. So now that was in 2010, okay, but I didn't know we were among a telepathic community, nor did I know that we were among those that could send pains forcefully. And I'm not saying this against Wellstar, but I found it very interesting because one of the issues that was a problem with Wellstar was I noticed one of the techs was unscrewing the IV. And I told her, I said, we're not supposed to do that. And she said, well, I said, but because we're not supposed to do it, because, and I told her immediately what we were trained about, and that was a big no-no, a warning, because a patient lost their lives because the nurse is supposed to do it. The tech doesn't have training to do that, okay? She still kept doing it, and they didn't care. And so I just let it go. I mean, I told the nurse, it was a long story, but I did tell the nurse, and I said, you know, because she got upset. I think that, if I remember correctly, the tech got upset with me, but I wasn't trying to get her in trouble. Because as a team, we worked together. I thought she didn't know, but she did it anyway. And she didn't use a sanitizer swab. One of the things they spoke of is using a sanitizer swab when you hook the IV back up, okay? And she didn't do that. She, you know, and I was like, what, you know, and I guess because once again I was too compassionate or I was passionate about it, because we definitely was trained, and the nurse made sure she told the story for a reason, that a patient lost their lives because life because a tech unscrewed the IV and did not return. So after that, that's when things started. That situation with me telling the tech and the nurse that was involved, because the nurse supposedly came and did it, and she didn't do it, and she didn't come and do it, and then instead of them just trying to correct the mistake, I started to see that it seemed like the nurses were deliberately or not trying to do it. I don't know what was going on. But now that I know that I'm among a telepathic community, I had a thought. I was like, can you imagine, Dwayne Battlefield Bey, being on a bed and you trying to you need to heal, but you keep feeling pains, sharp pains in your joints, and you don't know where it's coming from. So not knowing in 2010 that we are among those that can send sharp pains deliberately to joints. And so if you're receiving sharp pains and you already mentally, physically in distress or dis-ease, when the doctors say, we're going to give you morphine, we're going to give you this, you're going to be like, yes. You know, all that costs money. And can you imagine what it does to your brain cells as well? You know, so you getting doped up, you know, and then before you know it, something else happened. We didn't know you had cancer. We found a cancer cell here. You didn't know, you know, so I was like, oh my goodness, you know. So that's my connection. Now, I'm not saying this happened with Wellstar. Though, what I could just tell you for a fact happened at Wellstar is that when I told the nurse with a good conscience, because I didn't want, I was like, I'm not going to be a part of her in front of me. I'm witnessing her unscrewing an IV when it was told to us to never unscrew the IV. Always get the nurse to do it. I'm not gonna witness that, and that patient, and for whatever reason, she doesn't screw it back the right way, or she doesn't use the swab, and that patient gets an infection, or doesn't even get the fluids that patient needs in the first place. So, anyway, it is what it is. Now I see the connection. So I really do. So Dwayne Baffler Bey, I am growing. I'm growing because my eyesight is growing, and I understand when my consciousness changed why things, you know, I don't have the telepathic code, but I'm pretty sure at Wellstar they had the telepathic code. There's people there that had the telepathic code. Now I'm from the South, I'm from there. If I didn't have telepathic code, there was probably others. This was in 2010, it's 2019. There were other people or other techs or nurses that maybe didn't have the code, but they was distributing this code out, okay? And so on the ugly side, imagine hospitals, I'm not saying this is Wellstar, but imagine hospitals deliberately hiring techs that they know, or nurses that they know that will deliberately send sharp pains to joints, so they don't have a connection, they have no compassion. So if they need that organ, or they need to sacrifice someone, they just have one of these spirits that are unclean that they have been using, and they're working in a hospital to finish the job and get that organ. Okay. Okay. So that's what I was thinking. Also, another thing I thought about real quick. I was working today, and I was thinking to myself, or no, let me just say this. I'm not working or earning money. I was thinking to myself, Dwayne, because I had this thought of many times of, especially when this is not it, I'm not going to say Burger King, but I'm just that thought when I'm out, okay, because I don't want to, you know, say Burger King, and I'm just saying when I'm out, and it is true when I'm out, when I'm among those that speak Spanish, all of a sudden a thought might come, it's like something like, this is a telepathic invasion. And this is how it sounds. A male is saying, you're going down a slippery slope. He hasn't called her yet. Like they trying to initiate. Like I hear them saying werewolf and all that crazy stuff. Like they trying to initiate. Like they trying to make an excuse or engage why what's going on. Like I supposed to, like automatically I supposed to want to be in their clique. Once again, I used to hear them say werewolf and all this other stuff, okay? Like an animal. Like who want to think that they are a beast, okay? As a Moorish American, a Hebrew Muslim, we are not beasts. We are spirit woman, spirit man first. And this is a blueprint in the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Chapter 1. Creator Fate gave us a soul so we can function on the plane of soul, a human soul. It doesn't say we are human. It said it gave us a human soul, okay? But before we had a human soul, I connect the dots the way back to that we were spirit man and spirit woman. And then after we received a human soul to function on the plane of soul, then we receive a body of flesh so we can create things that manifest, or on the plane of manifest. So I'm not a beast. As a Hebrew Muslim, we're Imani Great Bey, we're not a beast. We're not beasts. We don't want to. We're not initiated. So this is what I see, is that is a telepathic way of those that speak Spanish, whether they're from Mexico, El Salvador, the black Negro, that unclean, filthy spirit, the pale skin, to engage. And you don't know. You're thinking, why they keep saying this, but they still trying to implement a rule that doesn't exist. A rule so they can justify in their demonic, filthy, and unclean mind why they are attacking your genitals, these unclean spirits, why they might molest at night, or why they are mentally forced, engaging mentally. So anyway, getting back to 2010 when I was at the hospital. Yes, there were probably people I was working on that was telepathic, and I had no idea. Islam. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I'll send you a picture of what we're cooking tonight, or how this turns out. Okay, Islam doing Beye. I'm growing. Islam.